Let's take a moment and talk about CorelDRAW's rulers. And of course, you can see your rulers running right across the top of your screen there. There's your horizontal ruler, and then the vertical ruler runs down the left edge of your interface. Now, what's interesting about the rulers is you can actually see this. As I'm moving my mouse around on screen, keep your eyeballs on my horizontal ruler, and you'll notice that there's a dashed vertical line that's kind of tracing its way across the ruler. And you'll notice the same thing on the vertical ruler over on the left-hand side. So the first thing that the ruler is going to do is it's going to track your cursor position on screen, which is great when you're moving objects or trying to align objects and all the rest of it, right? But what I really want to show you is how you can change the ruler orientation. What I mean by that is you can see that the top left corner of the page is set to the 0 point on the horizontal ruler, and at the 11-inch mark there over on the vertical ruler. Where's the 0 point on the vertical ruler? It's down in the page's bottom left corner. If I scroll down, there's my 0 point there. But you can always change, as I say, your ruler's orientation, as we call it. For example, what I've done is I've drawn out two simple rectangles here on screen, and maybe, for example, I don't want the ruler measuring off of the corners of my page. I want the rulers measuring off of the top left corner of this particular object, right? So how do I do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'll bring my cursor over top of this little area here, right where the two rulers meet, if you will, in the interface. Click on that area and drag out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop my cursor right on top of the point inside my layout where I want the ruler orientation to be set to, if that makes sense. So if I let go of my mouse at this point, now the 0 point on the horizontal ruler and the 0 point on the vertical ruler now converge or meet at this point inside my layout, which is hugely useful as you're building your layouts and building your documents and all the rest of it, right? And I can change that ruler orientation whenever I want on the fly. Let's say, for example, I'm in the middle of laying out my document, laying out my design, and I go, you know, I got to change my ruler orientation. I now want it to be in the top left corner of this second rectangle. Well, same story. Head over to the side, click and drag out that orientation, drop it onto your shape. That's all there is to it. Now the 0 point is set there and there on my horizontal and vertical rulers. I hope that makes sense. Now, how do you reset your ruler orientation now that you've changed it? Well, all I'm going to do is I'll bring my cursor back over top of that same tiny area inside my interface where the horizontal and vertical rulers converge and simply double click, and that resets my ruler orientation. So some very cool tricks for you to keep in your back pocket as you're working along inside your layouts. Okay, I want to show you a couple of other very quick things here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on either the horizontal or the vertical ruler, and you'll get this contextual menu that appears here. I'm going to choose Ruler Setup. Go ahead and do the same thing here. That's going to bring you into your options dialog box, and you have a huge array of options that are now presented to you for your rulers. For example, we have something called Nudge and Super Nudge, which we'll talk about in the next chapter, by the way. You can also set your unit of measurement for your rulers. Now, what you can do here is, if you want, you can have the same unit of measurement for both the horizontal and the vertical, or for whatever reason, maybe you want your vertical ruler to use millimeters, or maybe pixels, or maybe centimeters, or something like this, right? It's entirely up to you. So in other words, you can have a different unit of measurement for each of your rulers. Very cool. You also have your orientation. We just talked about setting that up. And then the tick divisions, how you want to set the scaling for your rulers. So I'm going to leave the defaults because I want to make sure that we're all set to the same settings here. But if you want to take a moment and fiddle around with these guys, go for it. I'm just going to cancel out of this dialog box. I more wanted to make you aware of these options and actually go and set anything with you. All right, one more quick thing. Maybe you don't like your rulers. Maybe you don't want to use your rulers, so you may as well not even have them on screen. So how do you turn your rulers off? Well, all you need to do to shut your rulers off is simply head up to the View menu up at the top there, and then look for Rulers about halfway down on the View menu. Go ahead and choose that guy, and your rulers disappear. If you want to get your rulers back, head back to the View menu, back down to Rulers, and that turns them back on. So there you go. There's working with your rulers here in CorelDRAW.
To change your